Hello everyone, good morning. It's Hans from TP-Link. How are you guys? We just reached to 11 o'clock just for today, and we are going to kick off our webinar straight. So thank you very much, first of all, for everybody who's spending time for this morning attending our VIGI webinar hosted by TP-Link Australia. So I'm Hans Lee from surveillance team from the BDM role, so representing the security team, giving you these VIGI introductions. So before we start, just a little bit sort of like a little suggestions for today's webinar. So there will be, I'm pretty sure there will be quite a bit of questions to be asked. So down the Zoom software, there is a Q&A section that you can use from the toolbar to type in any questions. So I will try my best to answer the questions whenever that the time allows. And if the time is not allowing me to answer the question in the middle of the slides, I'll just leave all the questions at the end. So the presentation will last for roughly about 60 minutes. So that's from 11 to 12. And then we use roughly about half an hour to answer all the questions. And secondly, if you open up the webinar chat, as you can see that I've already got a TP-Link LinkedIn page listed over there. So for anyone who has joined us for today's webinar, so they will go into a lucky draw to win some amazing prizes. I've got one of these VIGI 4K resolution panoramic bullet camera, which we will give this to the most luckiest customer for today. And there are also 5 TP-Link merchandises that we will give away to another 5 different lucky customers as well. So anyone will got an entry to today's lucky draw, and whoever that followed us on the LinkedIn for today, they will get additional entry to win the better prizes. Okay. All right. So anyway, so that's enough for the very quick sort of like introduction, and I'll just kick in with our main topic for today. All right. So this is what we're going to talk about for today. So there will be 4 different sections, and I'll just cover a little bit about the company profile, and then we will discuss about the main VIGI security product lines, as well as our most popular best-selling VIGI Solar CCTV. And at the end, I'm going to cover some of the technical support and the training related questions. So first of all, about the company itself. So most of you must have already got a basic knowledge about who TP-Link is, what we do. So just long story short, so TP-Link has been #1 globally for probably 15, 16 years in a row in the supply of all the Wi-Fi wireless product globally. So that's including both consumer and commercial range. So right now, the company has got 4 R&D centers with one of the main ones in USA in the headquarters located. And we've got 3 manufacturing facilities that are located in China, Vietnam, as well as Brazil. So the company hires roughly about 20,000 employees in the whole globe, and we have a presence in nearly 170 countries, basically having our business and the products being used by the local markets. So talking about ourselves in the local team, so this is our local warehouse and the offices in Sydney. So we got 2 facilities, one in Radomir, one in Silverwater in Sydney. So as you can see from the photo, we've actually got 2 warehouse locations that is actually kind of differentiate TP-Link compared with everybody else, that we actually holding the local stocks for our local distributor and wholesalers being local suppliers. So this actually helped us quite a bit, especially during the COVID time. If some of you guys still remember that when everybody else is facing with these supply chain sort of pressures, when there's no inbound shipment, when there's no containers coming to Australia, so TP-Link actually fulfill the demand from the local market very well. So when it comes to people, so we're having roughly around 80 staff in Australia and New Zealand looking after the whole Oceania region at the moment. So the team, including people like salesperson like myself, as well as technical engineers, pre-sale engineers, post-sales engineers, and any of the supporting teams such as logistic, warehouse, marketing, accounts as well. Okay. So that's enough about the company profile. I'll jump through to our main topic today, which is about the products. So VIGI surveillance, by the name itself, VIGI stands for, VIGI is actually a name extracted from the word being vigilant. Okay, so this brand representing the commercial surveillance portfolio of TP-Link. Okay, so if you're looking at the whole portfolio as a whole, so the VIGI range is included by cameras, IP cameras, and security recorders, and there's a whole bunch of solar security solutions as well. And of course, there is also a range of all the software on the back end to support the user interface. So for this part, I'm going to be only talking about the fixed CCTV solutions for now, and on the next chapter, I'm going to mention about the solar CCTVs. So just a quick sort of summary about our camera portfolio at the moment. Okay, so I've already used some categories on the left-hand side to just give you a rough idea as to what's available from VIGI camera portfolio right now. So this kind of like a mini roadmap, including all the released model as well as three of the camera models that are scheduled to be released really soon. That is in these shiny green background sort of colors. Okay, so just a long story short, to summarize, we have a full range of different resolution of a fixed lens camera and a motorized zoom varifocal camera, and there's a special range of panoramic camera as well, and also a fisheye camera. And for the 4G range as well, we have a for the solar range as well. So we have a 4G IP camera range as well. And very recently, we've also released our super low light camera range as well. So this roadmap is meeting all the upcoming product in the next year. So we actually have already probably, roughly around 10 to 15 camera models that is under development on the background as well. Okay. So I'm not going to spend today's time to go through every single model, but I want to use some of the highlighted camera models as an example to give you a better idea as to what we are offering and what technology that is available from VIGI camera range. So looking at the screen now, so these three models comprises the fixed lens 4K resolution camera range from VIGI portfolio. Okay, so we use these slides to give you a quick summary of what's available. So first of all, resolution with up to 4K, and for any of the low resolution range, we also have this camera comes with either 4 megapixel or 5 megapixel. So when it comes to the lens, as I mentioned, they all coming with a fixed lens. So you have the 2.8 mil, 4 mil, and 6 mil as different options. So on the screenshot here, so it gives you a rough idea as to how much field of view in horizontal directions that you're able to get from the 2.8 mil lens. And secondly, so this is actually one of the key design from our fixed lens range, and as well as many of the other VIGI cameras. So we actually have both infrared and the worldwide light embedded onto this camera range. Okay, traditionally you will be only probably looking at an infrared black and white camera by default. So for this fixed lens range, being the entry level or the most basic camera offering from VIGI TP-Link, we've already have the black and white as well as the worldwide light embedded. Okay, so looking at the screenshot on the left, you can see that you can still use a camera in a traditional black and white image, just similar to the video footage you might see from all these news from televisions or online news. And the second option gives you the ability that you can actually make this camera to perform as a color camera at nighttime 24/7. Okay, so when it's getting dark enough, when the camera is not able to get enough light from the ambient environment, and the camera can turn on its worldwide light, and this worldwide light will be 24/7, just for the nighttime to be able to give you a full color image. Okay, and with the third option, we actually give you a option that you can actually have the two ambient light to be worked together in a more smarter way. So the camera will stay in black and white mode at nighttime by default using the infrared ambient light. But when there is a human or vehicle detected by the camera, then you will have the warm white light to be turned on and stay for 10 seconds. And then with the warm white light, it's going to light up the area, which will have the camera image to be switched from black and white image into a colorful image. Okay, so any of these settings, as you can see from the screenshot, they are fully configurable directly just from your mobile app. Okay, so you can just, whenever you need to, you can just make changes to this setting just straight from your mobile devices. And then on the third point, so any of this range, not only just with the fixed lens, it's actually across the whole board. So we have a smart human vehicle detection built in on the edge. So this smart detection is based on AI algorithm that is trained by deep learning. So with any of this smart object detection, so you can actually trigger any of these smart rules such as line crossing, intrusion, region entering, and region exiting and loitering detections. Okay. And and on the fourth point, so because of this warm white light LED illuminator, so other than just having them to be light up at nighttime to give you a colorful image, we can also make this LED light to be performed as a flashlight. Okay, so which instead of giving you a illumination sort of function, so it actually kind of triggering the alert with this flashlight, so you can just attract humans' attention. And to incorporate it with the light alarm, so any of these camera range here, you may not be able to see from the photo. So they all coming with a built-in speaker on the back of the camera body as well. Okay, so when any of this smart rule that is being triggered, you have a forbidden zone that some people entering this forbidden zone. So you can also have the camera to go off with a sound alert and to work with the light alert together. So you can actually track the attention of the people. So it's a human nature that you can imagine that whenever there is a kind of like a light source or maybe a sound source coming from somewhere, human nature is to tend to their head towards where the source of the light or the sound is. And by the time when they turn the head around, you're able to capture a nice, clear facial shot. So that is crucial for your evidence capture. And furthermore, along with the speaker, we've also got a microphone embedded onto any of this camera range as well. So you can see from the photo of this 4K fixed lens turn. So you got a microphone audio pickup hole on the front of the camera lens. Okay, so along with the speaker, so we're able to let the user or the operator of the system to achieve two-way audio talk with any of this camera, either from your mobile phone or either from your web browser. Okay, and at last, we've got this micro SD card slot, which allows everybody to be able to plug in a micro SD card. So you can just have a onboard storage to be allowed for the camera. So imagine for a scenario when there is no need to actually allow for multiple cameras. So you don't really need a recorder, a multi-channel recorder. So you can potentially just have a camera fitted with a micro SD card connecting directly to your mobile phone. As long as you can get a PoE source such as a PoE injector or maybe a PoE network switch to be connected to the camera, and then this camera will be able to just communicate with your mobile phone remotely and allow you to live view and playback and do anything else that you would like normally that you have to get done from the recorder. Okay. All right. So let's quickly moving on to the next slides here. So we also got this very special single lens panoramic cameras range introduced to the VIGI portfolio early this year as well. So it comes with two different forms. Okay, so we got the bullet form camera. We also got the turret form. So I've already used some highlighted color to indicate the key specifications or the parameters of this camera. So both of these bullet and turret camera are using a 180-degree panoramic fisheye lens, so which gives you full coverage from left to right to where the camera is facing with no blind spot. Okay, so resolution of both of the camera comes with 4K lens. Okay, so which gives you a better clearance when comparing with other 5 or 6 megapixel resolution. So, and as you can see from the photo on the right-hand side of this screen, we also have a blue and red strobe light included on this panoramic camera as well. So which means when there's a smart detection event to be triggered, like light crossing or intrusion detection, or if it's just like a simple human detection to be triggered. So instead of having a one white flashlight like what we have from the fixed lens turret or the bullet camera, so this panoramic camera can actually give you blue and red sort of like a light alert coming from the camera. So this is actually pretty popular among certain residential as well as some of the SMB customers that many customers will say, you know, I want this police camera. So when they're referring to police camera, they're actually talking about the red and blue strobe light. Okay. So on this second slide, I've got this video screenshot that was taken from the image. Okay, so the top one actually indicates a comparison in between a 4K panoramic bullet camera versus to a 4mm fixed lens dome camera. So you can see that basically using the timeline here, you can see the comparison of the field of view and also the coverage of the camera image. So of course, you can imagine that for a long corridor or maybe for a big car park or maybe for a side of the building where that you want to cover a wide angle, traditionally you would have to allow for two fixed lens, a 90 degree or 100 degree sort of a fixed lens camera that you're having one on each side and the other one on the other side, and then having the two cameras facing to each other. So, but with the panoramic camera, so you only use one camera, which also means one cable. So you can just have this camera located in the middle, so which gives you the ability that you can still achieve the same coverage, which traditionally have to be get done by two of the equivalent 90-degree horizontal cameras. And the bottom video screen is actually showing you how the camera looks like when the light crossing or the intrusion detection is triggered, and how the camera looks like with this blue and red strobe light to be enabled. Okay, so and on the bottom right corner, so we have another screenshot which actually shows you, you know, that this camera actually comes with this additional alarm input and output as well. So which means that other than just using the built-in active alerts, you also have the ability that you can actually connect into additional siren or maybe alarm or maybe a relay output, so that you can actually trigger some additional linkage actions from a third-party devices or hardware as well. Okay. All right, so let's moving on. We also have this fisheye cameras that was in our VIGI camera product range as well. So specification wise is I wouldn't say is not nothing very highlighted. So it's 5 megapixel resolution, 10-meter infrared, audio capability with both built-in microphone and speaker, and of course IK10 and IP67 rating, which makes this camera available to be installed for the outdoor. So what actually emphasizes this camera is actually on our software end. Okay, so there are two screenshots that shows you the original image of the fisheye camera during both daytime and the nighttime. Okay, so on this screen recording here, I actually want to show you the software capability from our web browser interface from the VIGI Cloud VMS. Okay, So from this recording here, you can see that I'm viewing the original fisheye view first, and then by using the software, I'm actually able to develop the image in a different way. Okay, so this is a 180-degree top to bottom panoramic view. And this is also a view that you can actually turn a fisheye camera into 4 separate image angle. So you can make the image looks like it's actually capturing from 4 equivalent fixed lens camera. And there's also a very cool little feature here that as you can see that we can actually make the fisheye image to automatically panning in the horizontal way that you can have this camera to perform in a very similar way as a traditional what PTZ camera can do. Okay. And then at the end of this screen recording, we can also even split the camera image into 8 different grades that you can actually have the camera to show in different angles. So from this screenshot, you can basically think of, what sort of options that might be available to help you to use this camera. Because imagine a car park, you can install one of these fisheye camera in the middle of the intersection, and you might have cars coming through from 4 different angles. So from this camera, other than just being able to give you a round bird's eye view that is traditional coming from a fisheye lens, that we are able to make these 4 separate view from the camera to let the camera actually seeing from different angles. And also for a traditional convenience shop or maybe little 7-Eleven or maybe some other retail shop, you can have one of these camera to be installed just straight on the ceiling. Okay. And then you can basically just have the camera to cover the full view without having to, have all these different 90-degree angle camera to be installed. Okay. So just for your information, so this fisheye developing function is available on the web browser from our VIGI Cloud VMS, which is a free software. And this is also available from the mobile app as well. So which means if you use your mobile application, access to the fisheye camera, you can also do all these developing functions. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving on. So just some teasings for very soon to be released product, which is our upcoming AMPR camera. So this is a screenshot that was taken from our web interface of our upcoming AMPR cameras. So as you can see, the camera is set to a very busy road, capturing all the number plate of all the passing by cars. And this is basically under beta version testing at the moment. All right, so the screenshot, as you can see from the timestamp, was taken roughly around probably 3-4 weeks ago. All right, so the accuracy of the detection is pretty accurate at the moment. So we're hoping to have this product fully released in about 4 to 6 weeks from now. Okay. All right, so let's keep moving. So any questions in regarding to what that is available, just feel free just put your question onto the Q&A section and I'll answer to you whenever I can. All right, I actually just got a question asked by Daniel. So will the AMPR camera come out with a longer lens? So right now, this upcoming model S345ZI is coming with a 5 times optical zoom lens, so which is from 2.8 mil up to around 13.5 mil. Okay, and with a longer lens option, so we haven't got anything planned at the moment, but the requirements actually has already been passed through to the R&D department. So they're actually just evaluating the request right now. So just for your information, the reason why we're still looking at 2.8 to 13.5 mil sort of lens at the beginning is because that this AMPI camera is designed to be capture number plate for a car that is trying to entering or exiting a car park. So which means that we would assume that in any of these kind of environment that the insolation angle of the camera will be relatively not as bad. Okay. All right. So that's enough with the camera and jumping on to the recorder range here. So I've used different colors to indicate the availability of the camera range. Okay, so this color in this dark gray sort of color indicates that the released NVR model. And I've also have three more models that are already listed on the top right corner, which are indicating the upcoming model, which are to be released in a very short time period. Okay. So under our NVR range, you will see a full plug and play range with a built-in PoE ports on the back of the recorder, starting from the 4-channel all the way up to 16-channel. And starting from the 4 hard drive based 16-channel recorder, you also have 3 NVRs over here that give you Ethernet only with 2 Ethernet ports that you can have one connecting to your camera network, another one connecting to your uplink. Okay. So I want to just give you a very quick sort of a brief about what's special with the VIGI recorder. I've got a screenshot on the right corner to shows you the 4-channel plug and play PoE recorder and the 8-channel version as well. So first of all, both of the recorder are coming with a very compact design. Okay, so we actually have some installers actually help us to test it out. So this 4-channel recorder, in particularly on the top right corner, it could be one of the smallest 4-channel plug and play PoE recorder out there in the market right now. So when it comes to a tiny corner that you want to install this recorder for, or either when it comes to maybe an outdoor sort of installation that you want to host this recorder in the outdoor enclosure, so the smaller size actually comes in very handy and very convenient. And we've also have a photo taken of the internal look of this 8-channel PoE recorder. So one thing you might realize straight away is that on the inside of our recorder, there's actually no SATA cable or no hard drive power cable. Okay, so what we designed with our recorder is that we actually allow for a sliding socket that instead of having to worry about your blue and the red cable, where to route the cable to, so it actually allows you to just slide in your hard drive into the motherboard, and then you just use the hard drive screws to fix them underneath. Okay, and one of the other things that you might realize over here on the recorder photo is that there is actually no ventilation fan on the side of the case. Okay, so you can also see from this photo on the top right corner. So there's no ventilation fan. So this is actually a very big selling point when it comes to residential installations. So normally, for residential building, you will probably have no idea where the NBN is actually coming from. It could be ended up in your lounge if you're lucky, but it could be also ended up to be in the bedroom or the study room where the end user wants to have a quiet equipment and environment. So because the recorder wants to have remote accessibility, they normally tend to have to be connecting to your mono router. So if it's unlucky that we have our NBN terminated at the bedroom, you don't want to have a loud recorder to be installed. So in that scenario, the 4-channel and 8-channel plug and play VIGI recorder comes in very handy, because you can just easily fit them in anywhere you like with a very low level of noise that it's going to generate. Okay, so you do see that on the 16-channel recorder, we have a ventilation fan on the side, but this ventilation fan is not just like a dump fan that you just keeps ramping up. So we actually make it designed in a smart tunable fan that the fan only speeds up when there is a need to get rid of all the excessive amount of heat generated by the hard drive and generating by the motherboard. But when there's not enough heat that is actually coming out of the unit, the fan actually comes down that you just barely hear anything, which is basically just make the user feel as quiet as equivalent to a 4-channel, 8-channel fanless recorder. Okay, and as you can see from the photo, any of the 8-channel recorder onwards, we have a rack mountable design included, and the mounting area has already been included in the package as well, so which make it easy for the installer not to worry about having to ordering these additional mounting accessories separately. And when it comes to mounting this recorder on the rack, a very typical problem that many security installers is facing with is that one camera is going offline, you want to check the status of the cable or your RJ45 terminations, or maybe if it's the camera itself. Normally, with many different third-party recorders, you're gonna have to swing back to the rear of the rack and trying to check your green and amber orange LED lights to see the status of the port. So with our design, you can actually vividly see all these PoE status as well as the Ethernet connection status straight from the front panel. Okay, so you might actually seen that. Okay, so this look of the recorder actually quite look like a TP-Link switch. So I actually got many customers got confused and they thought it is actually a switch instead of a recorder. So we actually designed the TP-Link VIGI recorder on purposely to match with the switch design to make this indicator displayed at the front panel to make the service and maintenance easier. So other than the hardware look being similar to our switch, we've also have some special software design internally, which also follows the network switch mentality as well. So looking at these VIGI PoE switches, so by default, you can actually just use this switch as a PoE switch. Okay, so by saying that, which means that we can actually have your camera network which goes to the PoE ports to be sitting in the same local area network as your uplink of your recorder. So which means that the camera will share the same IP range as your NVR, which makes the service and maintenance easier. So if you want to delve into the camera, you want to change some settings, you can log on to the camera's web browser straight away and then making changes. And this is also making it very handy for any of the customer who wants to integrate our camera and our recorder with a third-party smart home system as well, if they want to pull the data stream of the camera image. Okay, but on the other hand, if you care about cybersecurity, if you care about separating your camera network from your uplink, we also give you an option which is called network isolation, that you can turn on the option which allows you to have your camera sitting on the different network versus to the rest of your other devices on the local area network. Okay, so and there are quite a bit of other software designs as well. So we can probably go through some of them a little bit in detail if you guys any of you guys wants to delve in a little bit in details. All right, and other than that, on the recorder side, we do have some additional questions as well, additional features as well. So on this page over here, you can see that by utilizing the VIGI camera as well as the VIGI recorder, we've allowed for smart object attribute search. Okay, so you can look for a certain object based on gender, based on short hair, long hair, and also based on the color of the top wear of the object as well as the color of the bottom wear as well. Okay, so this feature is available straight from the VIGI recorder itself, and you can also conduct the search from your VIGI Cloud VMS, which is a cloud-based software, as well as a VIGI VMS, which is a PC or workstation-based software as well. And similar to a person search, we're also able to do the smart object attribute search based on for a vehicle object as well. So this is the VIGI mobile app. I'm going to do a quick demonstration after a few more slides. So we will talk about the mobile app a bit later. Okay, so moving on. So I've already mentioned about the VIGI Cloud VMS a few times. So this software, first of all, is a free software at the moment. Okay, so the Cloud VMS is a server-free, web browser-based remote VMS software that allows the user, regardless if it's the installer or end user, to be able to access to their VIGI security system from anywhere they like. Okay, so there is no limitation on the number of VIGI devices. There's no limitation on the users or no limitation on the site. So this software actually works very well when it comes to remotely managing a multi-site or a multi-location business, which I'm going to show you a bit later. Okay, So as you can see right now, the release of edition of the VIGI Cloud VMS is called Essential version. So we are going to introduce the paid version, which is a standard edition very soon, in about probably 2 to 3 months time. And one very big thing that will be coming in around probably end of this year or maybe early next year is that from the VIGI Cloud VMS platform, we are going to introduce the VIGI Cloud Backup. Okay, so this is going to be a full cloud backup solutions, regardless if it's going to be coming from VIGI camera to VIGI recorder to cloud, or other if it's from VIGI camera directly to cloud. Okay, so there will be a lot more details to be released to the market very soon. So we're just in the final stage of finalizing the pricing for the cloud subscription for the footage retention. And let's stay tuned for about probably 3 to 4 months, and then we will release the product very soon. And one last things before the demonstration. So NDA is a very big thing for the whole VIGI portfolio. So for those who doesn't know what NDA is, it's short for National Defense Authorization Act. So this is a bill that was passed by U.S. Federal government back to 2018 and 2019. So NDA basically restrict and also make a list of all these certain products or brands that are not to be allowed to be used for U.S. Federal government facilities, as well as local state government, as well as many of the sensitive infrastructures such as defense facilities or any of the the enterprise with sensitive information that is being hosted. So VIGI product being fully NDA compliant means that our hardware, the cameras, recorders, and also as well as our solar camera solutions are fully compliant with the NDAA requirements. So back in the North American markets, our product can be utilized in any of these sensitive areas. So in Australia, we don't have an equivalent bill or rule in place at the moment. So this is why that when it comes to a government tender from Canberra in Australia, so the government actually quite frequently refer to NDAA when it comes to the preference or the selection of the hardware. So for our local customers, so if you are working on a government job, federal government or local council jobs, or maybe some of the big enterprise that with a headquarter from US, so they might probably refer to NDA when it comes to the selection criteria for the hardware. So VIGI being a I would say affordable range of security products is actually a good options to be utilized for any of these customers, and also making sure that there is no issues and concerns about cybersecurity or national security. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna jump on to the demonstration. So I'm gonna just pause my slides just for now, and I'll just quickly share my screen from my mobile app, so I can just show you the VIGI mobile app very quickly. So just a quick reminder for those who wants to ask questions or have any additional information that you require, please feel free just put your questions on the Q&A section, and then I'll just answer them all together at the end of the presentations. Okay, so right now, as you can see, we're looking at my mobile phone screens. So I've got my VIGI mobile app at the bottom right corner. Okay, I'll just quickly jump onto it and let's have a look. So this is basically my mobile app interface. So I have a TP-Link email address, which is my TP-Link ID that I registered for the mobile app. And I'll just quickly jump onto my multi-screen display. Okay, I'll just mute my camera here. All right. So for me to quickly jump onto one of my camera, I can just go onto one of these live view of the camera straight away. I got the camera from the sideway that is actually looking at me at the moment. So as you can see from the live view screen, we have all these event that has already be listed as a thumbnail underneath. So I can quickly click on either one of them. So I can just jump onto the playback straight away. Okay. Or either if I'm not quite sure what video I'm actually after, as you can see, there's a timeline on the bottom of the screen that I can actually quickly just swipe my finger to the right, or either zooming in and zooming out, so I can just jump onto the certain time spot of the video straight away. Okay, and going back to my main screen for the live view, there are some of the basic buttons that which is not unique just with VIGI. So you have your two-way audio button, and you have your screenshot, and you have your screen recording, and this option here also give you the option that you can actually trigger a local active alert. So let's say if you already got some suspicious object that is wandering around in front of your camera, that you can actually just click the button, which allows you to trigger a very quick flashlight and alarm from the camera directly to scare the people away. Okay, but this is only just a live view design and the playback design on the mobile app from the VIGI. So what many of the installer actually quite like about the VIGI mobile app is actually the ability of the measurement of the hardwares. Okay, so as you can see, I got a little gear icon on the top right corner. I can click on the gear icon, which will take me to my interface of my camera management. Okay, so from this interface here, as you can see, there are a whole bunch of icons over here on the top. So any of these icon indicates one type of the smart detection that you want to configure on your cameras. All right. Traditionally, this has to be done on the NVR local interface or either on the camera web browser interface. But we actually have all these features to be all make them available on straight on the mobile app. Okay. So whenever you want to make changes to, for example, intrusion detection, all right, I hit the panel and then go on to the intrusion detection. I can quickly enable. All right, I can set my detection intrusion zone, whichever way you like, and then hit save. And coming back to here, there are some additional information that you want to enable as well. Okay. And once I go back to my camera main setting interface, as you can see, the intrusion is enabled straight away. All right. So based on any of these smart detections, and then we also create this active defense panel here, which allows you to decide what alarm that you want to trigger from what certain type of detections. So for intrusion detection at the moment, as you can see that I have the alarm turned off, which means I will be able to receive intrusion detection, but there will be no active alerts. But what I can do, let's say maybe I'm happy to have my light alarm enabled, and going back to here, all right, and going back to my intrusion setup, so you can see my light alarm has been turned on. Okay, so this gives you a very easy interface that allows you to make changes to the system whenever there's a need. For example, if the end user calling you say, I want to make changes to the intrusion, maybe the area drawn before was too big. So all you need to do is just to let the customer to share the device access with you, and then you can basically just jump onto the settings and just make the changes very quickly. Okay. So the smart detection is not only the configuration you can get done from the camera interface from the mobile app. We've also got a notification panel that is available from here. Okay. And we've also got a recording schedule, which you can configure directly from the mobile app. And when it comes to video related functions, this is a section that you want to configure the cameras to perform in certain ways during the nighttime. Okay. And stream related settings, you got your resolution, you got your frame rate, and you also got your bandwidth settings that you can actually make changes. So there's one big thing for many of the security installers. Imagine if you install your security camera in a corridor or in a long walkout, you want to rotate the image by 90 degrees, so you can actually let the camera to looking in like a vertical way other than being a landscape. So traditionally, you have to go onto the recorder or the web browser to do that. But from the VIGI recorder, as you can see, I've got all these options, all these rotate and flip options available straight from this interface here that I can actually jump on and make changes straight. Okay. All right. And coming back to over here, and as you can see, there is firmware update available. Okay. That's a very big thing. All right, so we got both cameras and recorders as well as the solar panel that can actually use a real-time cloud firmware update. When there's a new firmware available that introduce new features or fix existing bugs or some issues with the software, so there will be a push notification sent through that the customer will be able to see a little red dots on the top right corner. Okay, and from here the customer can actually click on and then follow the prompt, and then that will take you to the firmware update interface here that the customer can update the firmware very easily. Okay. All right. So other than this camera management as well as a live view and playback, we also have a notification sections which is designed to be used for installer in a very intuitive way. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch of notification that has been triggered. And if I click on the top right corner, I can select to turn on or turn off the event notification on my phone. And when it comes to mounted devices, as you can see, I got a few recorders, some single cameras, so I can actually select to receive the notification from some certain devices. So the selection can be even detailed into certain channels. So out of one 8-channel recorder, you can select to only receive notification based on certain channel of the recorder. Okay. All right. And on the mobile app too, so there is also lots of very useful utility, I would say, utility softwares that make the installer's life easier. So we are allowed to manage all the device sharings from one same point, and there's also batch initialization and the IP modify of your cameras and recorders, and you can also modify your on-screen displays as well. So we also got this very cool feature called IP scan. As you can see, my phone is connecting to a Wi-Fi network here. I'm able to do a very quick IP scan of the local area network, which actually shows me all the occupied IP address of the local network. So when it comes to allocating IP address, you can use this as a reference to give your camera or recorder unallocated IP address to avoid IP conflict. So one of the other very cool design from our software is that we actually have this TP-Link adapter cable, which is converting from USB Type-C into RJ45. So let's say if you don't have a Wi-Fi network available, you can actually connect the adapter cable from your iPhone or either from your Android phone to a Ethernet switch that you can also use any of these softwares to configure your local IP cameras without having to always bring your laptop with you on site. Okay, so this is basically how the VIGI mobile app looks like. Okay, and I'll just pause the screen sharing from my phone at the moment, and I'll quickly jump onto the VIGI Cloud VMS. As I mentioned, VIGI Cloud VMS is a server-free, cloud-based, web browser-based software. As you can see, I'm using the same VMS to log in. Okay, and once I've used my credential to log in from here, so there are some different selections compared with what you're seeing from the mobile app. Okay, so from here, as you can see, I've actually have this drop-down list to allow me to select an organizations. So any of these organization can represent one of your commercial customers that you install your VIGI security system for. Okay, so I can log in through my hands portable VIGI display, for example. So this organization could be in one physical location or could be in multiple physical locations as well. Okay, so under this organization here, I want to quickly show you my device management. So that's my company name or my organization name, and I can also create several sub-site and even even lower tier site under some of this sub-site as well. Okay. So basically from here, you can imagine where the VIGI Cloud VMS comes in very handy. So imagine if you install a security system for a franchise, maybe the owner owns several petrol stations. So he might have one in here, one in another different suburb. So you can actually create several different sites for different location. And then you can have your VIGI security camera and the recorder allocated to certain sites, and then you can have all these devices to be managed under each of the site locations. So when it comes to device management, you have the full capability as what you can get done from your mobile apps, as what we've shown before. All right, so there's a full control of your security cameras or either of your recorders from your VIGI Cloud VMS. Okay, so you can see there's a full bunch of display related functions such as image related, on-screen display, privacy mask. Okay, all these functions available. All right, and the streaming and as well as a whole bunch of the smart detections. So any of these settings, they can all be configured straight from the VIGI Cloud VMS browser interface. Okay, just bear in mind that as I mentioned, it's a fully cloud-based server-free software. So which means on the site, you don't really require any additional hardware. So you don't really need a PC or workstation. All right, so all you need to make sure is to have your VIGI camera or your VIGI recorder to be connectable to internet. Okay, and from this web browser interface here, we've got a full video capability as well that allows you to live view your video, to playback, and also to export short video clips if you need to. Okay, and under the organization and site management, as already mentioned, you can create as much as site as you want. And this is not only just for site management, there's also a specific user management as well under VIGI Cloud VMS. Okay, so from here, you can see I've got a whole bunch of different users that has access to this organization here. So any of them comes with a different role or different permission setup. Okay, so if there's a new, for example, a new store owner who just joined this company and the owner called you and say, hey, can I add access to this certain site with my new staff? And then what you can do is just to quickly select the email address, and then you allocate a user role over here, and then you allocate a site privilege. So this new user will be able to receive an invitation link on his email address, and then he can just register and then get access to the allocated devices and allocated sites straight away. Okay, so as I mentioned, VIGI Cloud VMS is a free software, and because of all this multi-site and multi-user allocation and management, so it's perfect and very good for a commercial installations with multiple different buildings or multiple different sites. And because it's a free software, you can just basically just jump onto the URL of the VIGI Cloud VMS, and then you can just register a cloud link, and then you can just use the services straight away. So in about 1 to 2 months, as I mentioned, there will be a standard edition, which is a paid edition software to be introduced, which are going to include some of these additional features that I'm showing under the application sections here. So this application, including AI search, auto snapshot, as well as smart people counting features that you can actually have VIGI Cloud VMS to do a little bit more other than just purely device management and live view and playback management. Okay. All right. And that's on the VIGI Cloud VMS. So I want to quickly just jump back to my mobile app, because you might wonder, so when it comes to a commercial customer, so as an installer, so I might use a web browser, but what if my end user customer doesn't want to use a web browser? They just want to use the mobile app. Okay. So in that case, we actually have that requirement already fixed for you. So going back to the same VIGI mobile app here, remember that all these devices, these are all the devices that was registered as a personal device under my own TP-Link account. So they don't belong to any organization. They don't belong to any customer. They are my home devices, or they are my own devices. So this is why you can see that it's called my VIGI. But if I click on the 3 lines on the top left, it actually takes you to an organization selection here. So if you still remember, so this is the list of all my organization cameras, all my organization names. Okay, so and then I can click on either one of them, which will just allow me to quickly just jump onto this organization here. And then you can see that these are correlating 100% to whatever the setup you already seen from the web browser. And from here, you can still do your normal live view, your normal playback, and the device management if you like, and the device sharing if you like as well. Okay. So basically, as you can see, from same interface, from one same platform, that the VIGI mobile app is already giving you access to pretty much everything that you would need to have access to different devices that was added in different ways. Okay. All right, so I'll stop the screen sharing for now, and that's enough for the first part of the demonstration. And now we're gonna jump on to our second portion of today, which is talking about the VIGI Solar CCTVs. So which is actually one of the big best-seller product range for our portfolio since last year. Okay. So this is a quick summary of what's available. So we got three different specifications for our solar battery kit. All right, so looking at probably the middle one, for example, VIGI SP9030 stands for VIGI Solar-Powered solar panel with a 90 watts panel and a 30 amp hour battery. So you might wonder where the battery is actually located. So we actually have the battery designed and embedded into this mounting arm over here. So if you're thinking about the weight or a design of a traditional solar panel, the battery is the most heaviest part, and then followed by the panel. Having the battery to be located close to where your mounting point is, either being a pole or being a wall. So it actually balances out the whole product very easily. So which is why that we actually have our product to be designed and to be able to actually, work against the most severe weather out of any of the competitive product out there in the market. Okay. But this is not the key selling point of our VIGI Solar Solutions right now. So any of these solar kits, they actually comes with a 3 standard male output with a 12 watts and a 2 amp DC output. Okay, so they are standard plug, which allows you to connect to your VIGI cameras. If it's not VIGI camera, it could be a third-party camera as well. But if we think outside the box, it doesn't even has to be camera. It could be a switch. It could be a wireless point-to-point. It could be any devices that is using a 12 volts DC power supply. Okay, and underneath over here, we've also highlighted another additional connections on the back of these solar panels. So we actually have an RJ45 interface available. So you might wonder, why do I need a network connection for a solar panel? Because traditionally, solar panel is just a dumb power supply. Okay, so adding this RJ45 interface actually makes this device not as a dumb power supply, and instead they actually turned into a smart IoT devices. So being able to have the IoT capability added to the panel, we actually have a full remote accessibility on any of these devices from the same VIGI mobile app that you already seen from the previous demonstration. So this is the screenshot I'm taking from my VIGI mobile app. So from here, you can see that by connecting your solar panel to the internet, it gives you a remote dashboard to show you the remaining battery capacity, and to shows you the current power generation and also the current power consumption. If I click on the power statistics, that will take you to another interface over here that it actually lists all your power performance in detail by either hourly manner or either by a daily manner that can trace back to up to 30 days. Okay, so these are actually very critical information when it comes to a solar setup that actually gives the user or the installer a very good understanding as to how well the system is performing. Because traditionally, you have a solar CCTV install out there on site. You're just hoping that you get the best weather if you can. But if the power is going off, there is no visibility whatsoever. All right. So if it's offline, you just hope that the weather can clears up, the sun can come back online. But with this capability here, it actually gives the user additional information that instead of just being told that Okay, so the system is offline. Let's hope for a better weather. So from an installer's perspective, you can actually give your customer a call in advance, say, hey, just so you know that Sydney has been raining for 3 days, for example, your system is down under 20% remaining battery. You might probably have a disruption of your service very soon. But instead of just waiting until the battery is fully runs out, we actually give some additional capability of the management of your solar panel as well. So which comes into this third screenshot over here. All right. So obviously I'm able to generate notification when there's a low battery capacity being detected, or either when the battery is being too hot or too cold, or either if I click on this power supply time, if you still remember, out of the 3 power output, 12 volts DC 2 amp output, they are providing power 24/7. But instead of having the power supply to be always available, I'm actually able to create a schedule or either to shut down my power supply completely, that you can actually reduce the amount of power that this system is using. So going back to the same scenario as I mentioned, the weather has been really bad and the battery capacity keeps dropping. You might have probably 2 or 3 cameras that is hooked up to your solar panel. You can call the customer and say, hey, if you want your service to be not interrupted, how about we turn off 2 of the less important camera and we only keep the most important camera running. All right. So this remote capability actually give you the option that you can actually get this process done, that other than just being blind completely when there's no power remaining. So you can still keep a minimum amount of services available. So while you're not actually losing your remote capability of viewing and for evidence capturing as well. Okay. And similar to the camera recorder, as you can see, we've also got options that you can remotely update your firmware. You can even reset or reboot the devices just from the mobile app. Okay, so a very similar interface is also available from the VIGI Cloud VMS as well. Okay, just so you know. And that's enough with the solar panel. And now let's discuss about the cameras. Okay, so we have 2 types of the VIGI 4G camera available right now. Okay, so one being a pen tilt capable camera with a 4 megapixel fixed lens, and another one being a bullet form camera with also a 4 megapixel fixed lens. Okay, so any of these camera, they are coming with full color with both infrared and smart warm white light and built-in. Okay, and both coming with a speaker and a microphone that give you an active deterrence capability when there's a smart detection trigger. And similar to the other camera range, will also allow for 2-way audio. And of course, since they are going to be installed outdoor, both of the camera are IP67 weatherproof, so you can add they are weather outdoor available. Okay, so this is basically the I would say the basic specifications, and we want to talk about some highlight of our 4G cameras. But before we're doing that, I want to give you an example of a typical third-party solar camera solutions. So looking at this photo here, this is a very typical customized solar CCTV camera. So you got your panel, you got enclosure, which internally it might host your solar battery, and it might host your 4G antenna, a modem router, and if there might be a switch available as well, and then having the switch connecting to IP cameras. Okay, so if we break it down, it's going to comprise with 4 separate parts, which is your surveillance camera, your 4G modem router, your network switch, and as well as the outdoor enclosure. Okay, so when it comes to the VIGI solutions, we want to make it simple. What if I want to give you a solution that minimize the amount of all these devices into one, which is basically one of these 4G bullet cameras? Okay, so as you can see from the photo, this camera is designed with 2 4G antenna on the top, which you use the SIM card to provide internet for the camera. But it's not only just for the camera itself. We can also use the 4G SIM card to provide internet to additional devices, which will use this 4G relay to be called as the term you can also think this as equivalent to a 4G modem router. Okay. All right. So, and another thing that you might already seen as a highlight on this 4G bullet camera is that you actually have not only just one RJ45 cable, you actually have three RJ45 cable coming from the back of the camera. So with this 4G, with this RJ45 cable, you can actually allow this camera to be connecting to three additional devices. Okay, other than just being able to allocate a DHCP IP address for one camera, you can have maybe 2 or 3 cameras connected to it, or it could be even be a wireless bridge. It could be a solar panel. It could be any devices that require internet accessibilities. So from that point, you can think this multi-point design to be equivalent to an Ethernet switch. All right. And then if we're going back to this slides over here, we've got our camera, we've got our 4G modem from the antenna, and with the 4G relay function, I actually allow the SIM card to be shared internet across with all my downlink devices. And with my multi RJ45 design, I've also got my connection for multiple devices all sorted. And of course, because the camera is auto suitable camera, so I don't need the enclosure anymore. And everything all be combined into one hardware. So what's the advantage of doing this? First of all, with one less devices, you're putting only pressure with one power consumption onto your solar battery, which means that your solar system is going to last longer. Okay, so that's the very first thing. And secondly, with less devices, of course, it takes less time to worry about all these customizations. You don't have to mount the camera onto your enclosure and then routing the cables. Everything is already embedded over here. And thirdly, of course, because there is only one single 4G camera, compared with 4 separate hardware, 4 separate pieces, the budget and the cost is also going to be reduced by quite a lot. Okay, and now we can come into a conclusion with our VIGI Solar 4G solutions for surveillance. So single camera solutions over here. So you use one of these little 90-watt 30 amp hour solar panel with a little 4G Pentile camera. All right, so I use the blue light to indicate my network connection and the red light to indicate my power connection. The SIM card from the camera providing internet to my solar panel to give you the remote dashboard, and then the red line in the other way to provide the power supply to the camera. And when it comes to mounting camera on a single pole, I have my solution by using my 4G bullet camera here. All right, so 2 camera additionally to connecting to my RJ45 cable to the 4G bullet, and then another additional cable connecting to the solar to give you the dashboard. And then from the solar, you use 3 output to provide the power to all your 3 cameras. So looking at this design here, this one give you a 90-degree angle, another 90-degree angle, and then another 180-degree angle. That makes you altogether a 360-degree full coverage from a single pole multi-camera solutions. And if we further extend the idea, we've also got a multi-pole solar setup solutions. So this actually requires some additional hardware coming from our Omada wireless bridge. Okay, so you can see from here, I'm using a 4G Pentile camera connecting to a wireless bridge. And from this wireless bridge, as you can see from the bottom, it comes with the 3 Ethernet ports. I can have one goes to the 4G, one goes to the camera, and then another one goes to the solar panel. All right, and the master unit shoot a wireless beam across to the other unit. And then from the other side, you just need to have 2 standard camera or even 3 standard camera connecting to the bottom of the Ethernet port, which gives you the Ethernet capability, all devices to be shared across from this SIM card. All right, you might wonder why is the Omada from TP-Link wireless point-to-point unit special? Because we actually have a 12 volts DC power input included over here. Okay, so which allows this device to be working with a solar panel by default. Okay. And the next question that many customers might ask is how long a system will last. Okay, so from here, I'll give you an example. So one combination with one 4G Pentile camera plus a 90-watt 30 amp hour is gonna give you 8.5 days runtime from your battery when it's rainy days or cloudy days. And when the battery is fully runs out, it takes roughly about 1.5 days to fully recharge the batteries. Okay, so of course, we have all these customized solutions available. So when it comes to some certain combinations of hardware, to help you to understand how long the system will last, we actually allow for this website link over here, which I put a screenshot over here to show you that from this interface here, it actually gives you a selection for your location of for the location of where the solar will be installed, and the selection of the solar and the selection of the hardware, and it actually tells you how long this system will last based on your customizations. Okay, and very quickly, I'm gonna jump onto my mobile app so I can just show you how easily I can actually have my 4G camera and my solar added to my mobile phone. Okay, all right, I got the screen up. Going back to my VIGI mobile app, you see the plus sign on the top right corner. I want to click on that. And I've already, as you can see on the floor, I've already got a little solar kit and a 4G Pentio camera already lying on the floor. So what I'm gonna do is to quickly add in my device by scanning this QR code of my 4G Pentio camera. I've already got a SIM card slotted in, okay? So you might probably hear a little audible alert letting you know that you're trying to actually access to the camera. Okay, I'll just quickly try to type in a default password. And then select my region, select my time zone, and select next to confirm the settings. Give the device a name or just leave it as default, and then down. I've got my 4G camera already up and running. Okay, so this is how simple you can configure a VIGI 4G camera. Okay, so before I have this device connected, all I did is just plug in my SIM card. And this is a plug and play process as well that doesn't really require any VPN settings or any camera configuration. So the camera will just automatically pick up the SIM card and allocate VPN, and then the internet will be available straight away. And the second thing, I want to do the adding process for my solar panel as well. As you can see, there's a QR code underneath the solar bracket as well. I'll just go on to the same process, and there's the same interface that allows me to type in my out-of-box default password for my solar panel. Select my region, select my time zone, and confirm my device name and hit next. And then my solar panel is added as well. All right, so this is basically how simple it is to try to add a VIGI security product onto your mobile, okay? And you already seen all this interface over here, okay? All right, and the similar process also applies to adding a recorder onto the VIGI mobile app, okay? And when it comes to the VIGI Cloud VMS, you also have the similar adding process that you can choose from as well. So you can see I've got the plus side button, and give you the option that you can either scan the QR code or auto discover from the local network, or either you can configure the site straight from the mobile. Okay. All right, so that's a very quick sort of demonstration about the adding process of the VIGI solar cameras. And I'm gonna come back to here to just touch on a few more points before we start wrap up and answering all the questions. So for some of you guys might know that under TP-Link, we have another sub-brand called Omada. So Omada actually represents our commercial networking portfolios. So mid of this year, we released Omada Central, which is a cloud-based management platform that allows the user or the installer to be able to manage both their networking equipment as well as their surveillance equipment all under one cloud interface. Okay, so when it comes to networking equipment, we're talking about access point, wireless bridge, Ethernet switches, modem routers, gateways, and also cloud controllers. And when it comes to security, we talk about security camera, the network recorder, and even the solar panel. Okay, so from TP-Link's background, so because we're coming from the networking sort of a background at the beginning, so we're actually trying to make a unified interface for any system integrators that whenever you go out and deploy a networking slash security system, so you don't have to always jump around in between different mobile apps. You don't have to jump around between different URLs or different software. So by simply log on to the URL of your Omada Central Cloud Management Platform, it gives you a full user interface that shows you all the device status of your hardware from the both networking perspective as well as from the security or the video related perspectives. Okay, so if you are interested in some more details about Omada Central, please just feel free leave us a message or reach out to your TP-Link account manager, and then our team can help you to organize a private session to give you a little bit more introduction about this product range. Okay, and at last for today's webinar, as I mentioned, there is a full pre-sale and post-sale support team from TP-Link locally. Okay, so we have this commercial support hotline, which is the 24/7 available. So which you can talk to our team in regarding to Omada networking product as well as a VIGI surveillance product. And there's also supporting emails available that you can also send emails to ask any product questions or any support inquiries if you like. And other than a sales training webinar like what we're doing today, TP-Link also offer monthly certification trainings as well. So there are 3 different available sessions that is released to the Australian market right now. So which are Omada Wireless, which covers all the wireless point-to-point and the Wi-Fi product, and Omada Routing and Switching, which covers all the networking connectivities and the network switches and the routing functions, and also VIGI certification trainings, which is more focusing on the VIGI surveillance product as well. So this training is also done in a remote form via Zoom software. So we're organizing roughly around 1 to 2 sessions on a monthly basis. So you can stay tuned with our website. So if you are interested in getting certified and get very hands-on, get knowledgeable with the TP-Link commercial products, please feel free to reach out to your contact from TP-Link so the team can send you some additional information about these certification trainings. And we've talked about enough about the VIGI mobile app. There's another separate mobile app, maybe some of you might already seen from my screen sharing from my phone, so which is called the TP Partner app. So this mobile app is a partner community portal that allows the customer to jump on to find lots of useful information. So as you can see from this video, from this screenshot here, we've allowed for lots of small short 2-3 minutes short video that actually teach you how you can reset a password for your VIGI camera, how you can configure your Omada wireless point-to-point, etc. So there are lots of cool videos actually very hands-on and teaching you some technical operation of the product. And there's also product selection guide as well, new product release. And very importantly, we also got a marketplace which allows any of the loyal TP-Link customer to be able to use this app to scan the QR code of any of the TP-Link commercial products, and then they can accumulate points. So once you reach to certain points, you can use the point to redeem for merchandises or redeem for samples or even some of the little giveaways as well. Okay. And that's pretty much for the main content for today, for today's webinar. And I'm now going to open up the Q&A panel so I can just quickly run through the questions. All right, so I've got this question here from Nick. With the panoramic cameras, how long do the red and the blue lights stay on for? And after they are triggered by default? So basically, this working period for the blue and red strobe light is configurable. Okay, so I cannot remember exactly how long it takes, but by default, it should be probably last for roughly around 10 to 15 seconds. But depending on how you want to use it, so you can actually log on to the camera and to make this active deterrence light to stays either longer or shorter, depending on how you want to use it. Okay. And I got the next question from Peter. The camera colors, seen the picture for the white. Do you have a turret that comes in black? And I have some clients that specify the black camera in their requirements. So right now, we haven't got a black camera planned in our portfolio at the moment. So I would assume that if you are going to install maybe a camera for bars or maybe some of the area with black sort of decorations, you might probably need a black camera. So I think in that scenario, at the moment, unfortunately, you're gonna have to probably paint spray the camera yourself. Okay. Yeah, but that's a very good point. So we will definitely submit our request to the headquarter just to let the product team from the headquarter to evaluate to see if we might want to have a black camera to be introduced sometime later. Okay, so there's another question here. What is the fan noise level for the recorder? To be honest with you, I haven't really tested it out myself after I rip out my old Hikvision recorder with the VGA channel PoE recorder. But a good feedback from my wife herself is that after I replace the recorder, there's no more noise, so which means that she can get a very good sleep. Okay, so I actually stay very close to my 8-channel plug-and-play recorder at home myself to try to listen to the noise. So basically, the recorder itself doesn't really generate any noise. So the only sound that you can hear from the recorder is just the hard drive disk spinning. Okay. So on my home recorder, I actually got a 10 terabyte hard drive, Western Digital purple hard drive plugged it in. So which is a very thick and very heavy duty hard drive. So it's normally generating quite a bit of heat, but my system has been running for like 2 years and is still running fine at the moment. Okay. And the next question from Andrew. So do we need to use special cameras for this metadata? So the metadata, I think right now is still not available as yet, but we are actually in the process of releasing the new OnVIF profile to be supported. So which is actually including all the metadata. So I was told that this new OnVIF profile on the VIGI camera will be available early next year in 2026. Okay. All right. And the next question from Andrew: does VIGI integrate with Omada, Tesla, or Deco? So as you already seen from when we're discussing about the Omada Central interface, so VIGI camera can be integrated with Omada Central platform, which basically means that you have an integrated interface managing all your networking and security altogether. Okay, and with Tesla and some of the other brand, unfortunately, at the moment, so they can be only integrated by using OnVIF protocols. Okay. All right. And next question from Daniel: with a larger size that do require a dedicated PC at the reception or security office, we use VIGI PC client. Why does the video pause after a few minutes? Okay. So this is actually a pretty technical question because the video streaming from devices added through the VIGI Cloud VMS is actually going through a P2P server. So this P2P server is using a special point-to-point technology to try to penetrate through the ports on the router. So this technology does not give us a 100% successful rate. So if it's not successful, then you're gonna have to use a VIGI Cloud Relay server to send the video stream across. So this relay server is not free for TP-Link, which means we have to pay usage to our service provider. So this is why that because we don't really charge the customer for video streaming. So if the point-to-point streaming is not available, it's not successful, then we're gonna have to restrict the streaming limitations on the video streaming. So I think right now it's being probably 5 or 10 minutes on a single channel. And on the upcoming VIGI Cloud VMS Standard Edition, it's going to be extended to 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah, but in the same time, we're also trying to improve our technology, trying to make the point-to-point successful rate a bit higher. All right. So which hopefully that we are able to probably getting a better sort of getting a better streaming experience later on. And next question, what's the warranty duration? So it's 3 years across the whole board, including cameras, recorders, and the solar panels. Okay. And the next question, what is the estimated lifespan of the lithium batteries? So the lithium battery can last for about 300 charging cycles. Okay, when I say charging cycle, it means that the battery drops from 100% back to 0 and then back to 100%. So that's one charging cycle. Okay, so after 300 charging cycle, you will be still seeing roughly about 70 to 80% remaining capacity when comparing with out-of-box battery from the VIGI Solar batteries. Okay. So, and is the replacement battery available? So right now, the current hardware design does not allow the camera to be replaced. Okay, but we are going to introduce a new hardware design in about probably 3 to 5 months time. So this new hardware is actually already available. So this new hardware design will allow the battery to be slided out from the front entrance of the bracket of the solar panel, and then you can replace with another brand new battery. So next question from Peter. So can you expand the battery storage on the solar system from 3 batteries to 6, for example, adding in another storage area? So at the moment, we're not able to do this natively with the VIGI hardware. So, but we do have some customer who actually kind of using a third-party hardware to kind of combining 2 of the VIGI solar panel cabinet together. Okay, so this solar panel cabinet, when I was referring to, I was actually talking about the bigger one, the very first one with a cabinet with 2 panels side by side. Okay, so with the smaller one, like the 90 watt 30 amp hour or the 90 with the 60 watt 30 amp hour, unfortunately, you won't be able to extend the batteries. Okay, all right. So next question from Peter. So do any of the VIGI cameras allow for on-with profile M? I don't think on-with profile M is supported. So it does comes with on-with compatibilities with profile S and T, if I remember right. So on-with profile M, which basically is also the similar question to what Andrew was asking, is actually the profile, I think, containing all the metadata informations. So this, as I mentioned, is what is being worked on by the R&D at the moment. Okay. All right, and next question from Sean. Can you please confirm which 4G carrier can be used for your solar products? So right now, we haven't really got any issues with any SIM card service provider. So any of the big ones such as Telstra, Vodafone, Optus, some of smaller ones like TPG, Dodo, INET, most of them are all being supported, and there's no limitation on the band as well. So TP-Link being probably one of the largest, mobile router, modern router supplier in Australia. So I think we probably have one of the best compatibility with all the local ISPs. Okay. And next question from Nick, when will the camera have 5G and will you be able to have a camera with dual SIM? So there's no plan for this hardware at the moment. So 5G, we did think about that in the early stage. Unfortunately, we decided to stick to 4G at the moment because our conclusion is that the camera being single channel doesn't really need a 5G fast internet. And one of the other things is that when it comes to actual installation, the solar and the 4G camera are normally comes in together. All right. So, which you would assume that the installation point will be somewhere in the middle of nowhere, where most likely there will be no 5G signal available whatsoever. All right. So, which makes the 5G SIM card downgraded to 4G by default anyway. Okay. And with the dual SIM availabilities, so we do have some of the commercial Omada TP-Link modem router that comes with a dual SIM for redundancy purposes, but there's no plan for 4G camera at the moment, but we can definitely think about that in the later on. Okay. All right. And one more question from Jack. So do you need a monitor to set up the NVR out of box if it is plugged in directly into the internet, or can it be done via the VIGI app? So that's actually a pretty good question because I've actually managed to get a brand new VIGI 4-channel, 8-channel kit set up without having a monitor. Okay, because our device actually comes with a DHCP server built in, and even when the device is not initialized, the DHCP functionality is already enabled, which means that you can actually have the camera connecting to the recorder and then have the recorder to pick up DHCP address even without initialization. And then you can basically go through the same process as what I did before using the VIGI mobile app, scan the QR code of your recorder, and then add the recorder onto your mobile app. So, long story short, by simply answer your question, yes, you don't really need a recorder to do initialization of the hardware. But however, there are still some of the little features that you probably rarely need to use it, but which might still only just gonna be available on the NVR local interface. Okay, so which means that it's still recommended to have a monitor or maybe a laptop to be brought with you together. But in the worst case, if there's no laptop or no work monitor, you can still work without them. Okay. All right. And another question, will this webinar be available for replay? Yes, Andrew. So we will have the recorded video to be available from the same EDM link, from the Zoom webinar link. So everybody will be able to go back and recheck this video. And may I know from Kevin, may I know if there will be an exam at the end of this training? So it's not a certification exam. It's not a certification training. It's just like an educational sort of a webinar. So if you're after a certification training, so we have one upcoming one, which is happening in about 1 to 2 weeks. I think the upcoming topic will be around Omada equipment. So that one will be a certification training that have the exam happening at the end. Okay. And one last question from Jason. What is the stock availability like at the moment? So Digidata doesn't seem to have much available. So when it comes to availability, we have actually lots of suppliers locally that you can actually purchase this product. So I can give you a few names. National-wise, you have Digidata, you have Blue Chip Infotech, you have Nestcorp. So we have 3 distributors that both have access to the product at the moment. And there's also a whole bunch of regional distributor and wholesalers that every one of them are all holding stock. So depending on what specific model you're after, maybe from time to time, some of the distributor might have short stock, and but thankfully, because TP-Link has got our own local warehouse, fulfill the demand from our distributor. So even if it's a product that is not available whatsoever across any distributor or any supplier, so we can still fulfill the order very quickly from our stock local warehouse. Okay, so if you come across with some certain product that you don't have available stock from your normal supplier, please feel free to reach out to TP-Link or to reach out to your TP-Link account manager, and then we can help you find different suppliers if you need to. Okay. All right, so that's all for today. So thank you all for all your time and for all the fantastic questions. And as mentioned, so everyone will be going to the lucky draw at the end of today. So please still feel free jump onto the chat intersection to follow us on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, I got my contact over here. And you're also more than welcome to reach out to TP-Link account manager directly. So if you need any help with project designs or any new inquiries about the product or technologies. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And appreciate everyone to have a wonderful day for the remaining of the day. Thank you very much. Bye.